Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the Future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor Podcast.
That's why.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
I'm Caleb.
What?
And I'm Melissa.
Melissa!
The kids were late.
Sorry, guys. This is a new setup. This is the first time we have 4 guests on the show, and I'm really excited.
Technically, all in one place.
In one place, yeah, that's right.
Because I was a virtual guest that one time.
That was so crazy.
Yeah.
That was like Black Mirror.
Just a
But
floating head.
guys, welcome to the show. Welcome. Oh my goodness. So I'm like really excited to have you. We've been prepping this episode 69.
I've been so hyped for episode
Honestly,
69.
it became, yeah, I don't know where it came from, but Veronica, like out of nowhere, was like 69, 69.
It's because I listened to one of my other podcast episodes and they like made a big deal about their 69th episode, and I was like, fuck, we need to do that.
Yeah, so instead of like air horns a lot, you're gonna hear this noise.
Boing.
I feel like you need to do the like wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I
Is that
need-
like
yeah,
from Monty
yeah.
Python? You guys
Yeah.
feel like you get that? That's like a old British thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I need a
That'd be
little
hilarious.
wink sound effect in here,
Yeah,
but I don't
right.
have that yet. So let's give a little intro to you guys. I actually met you guys like a while ago, and then we didn't see each other for a while. And then out of nowhere, where did we see each other again?
Where was it?
Little spirit.
I
Was that-
assume at a bar.
I think it was.
It was
I
a
think
boxing class. It was the
It was a boxing. You
class.
took my boxing class.
Yeah, so I'm still in boxing, and Caleb, it was actually one Friday where I was like one of 2 people in the class. It was me and this like older lady, and she was just like struggling, and she was kind of talking shit, not like literally about Caleb, but just about like exerting energy in the class. She
Yeah.
was like, "I'm never doing this again." And I'm like trying to build
It's
Caleb.
okay.
I'm like, "No, Caleb, this is a great class." But I actually didn't remember that we had met each other when I was taking those classes.
And then I think we saw each other at Little Spirit.
Yeah.
You're like, you have a second job
When I
at
was
Little
working at the
Spirit.
bar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
when
I was
like we
like,
went
I
together.
was like,
Right.
you were like, I took your boxing class.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
dude,
I
we
got
also
super
met
hype
at the
about it.
pool like a year ago.
remember that.
Yeah, then we realized we had met each other, and then then I re-met Melissa again too. She is at the gym, and then I asked you to be my personal trainer, and I've been training with you for a couple, I think like 2 months
It's been
almost now.
about 2 months now.
Yeah, so
shit.
and I really appreciate it, man. People have been saying I'm looking good and stuff, so I'm like, yeah, you got to talk to Caleb.
That's all
so.
it is, man.
Yeah, but how do
That's
you
the people.
feel? Do you feel good?
I feel amazing.
Yeah.
People-
well, this week,
like people.
I mean, we got back into it
Right,
today
right.
when this will come out later.
like
but
4th of July happened, and
Yeah.
then I went on vacation.
Hey,
So it's
holiday
been
weeks
like
are rough.
But I've been
You've
trying to like weave like workouts in with you through all that. So I'm trying to be good here. But yeah, I do feel amazing. I mean, honestly, what is like health and fitness been like for you? Like when you've kind of been transforming yourself.
Because like I started the personal training thing earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
and before that it was I got my degree in operations and supply chain management, so definitely not anything related to health and fitness.
So it's like that.
But I played baseball my entire life, so I grew up around that health, that fitness culture of
Yeah.
like being athletic and being around those people and being in the gym all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of one of those. It was like an aha moment because I started working at the training room at the front desk. And it was really my boss, Amber Goppert, that kind of got me into thinking this could be a thing.
Yeah.
And then just kind of took it and ran with it from there. And it's been a great journey. When I was at my desk job, I was not taking care of myself, not taking care of my mental health, my social health, or my physical health. And
Yeah.
kind of found myself, more or less what I would consider overweight for where I had been and how I'd felt the rest of my life.
Overweight and depressed. He
Yeah.
was very stressed out. And I think that's the majority of America, right?
Yeah.
Like you go and you work and you've got your 2-hour drive all the way up through Atlanta traffic.
I was in
and
Roswell.
then
It was awful.
you're,
Right.
yeah, and then you're
From
stuck
Park.
and like you're sitting in the car and hopefully you're listening to one of these awesome podcasts
Right,
and like
right.
trying to enrich your brain. But how often do we enrich our bodies?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's-
it's really all a part of it to me. Like, I just like was talking, I was at this hospital today doing a podcast. I record some podcasts and stuff. And this kid, has like some mental health issues and stuff. And we're doing a podcast around it with the hospital. And, he was just kind of, he's like he's about to be 18 in a couple days, but he's talking about like, physical education is taught in high schools and stuff, but like mental, education,
wellness,
yeah, all that stuff should be taught it's always a work in progress, like just like your health. So that's what I like about like training with you and stuff, because you the first day we were talking about like mental health stuff as well. So that's amazing, man. And if you're in the Atlanta area and you're looking for a trainer, definitely hit me up. I can send you Caleb's way. He's one of the best. And then also Melissa just graduated with her doctorate.
Yeah, in nursing.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Congratulations. Hold on, we got to do a loud crowd. That's no little feat right there. So, congratulations on that. What is like, that, I mean, we got to talking one night at Little Spirit about like your job, and it sounds gnarly sometimes.
Sometimes it is. I think being a nurse for me is always one of those like calling, and it's not a job. It's something that I love to do, and I love to help people. And so I'm a nurse practitioner now. So that means like in Georgia, I can prescribe, I can see patients just like a doctor can, with physician oversight. That's the law in Georgia, not so in like 24 other states.
Yeah.
Here we are. But it's a blessing, and like getting my doctorate, it allows me to do a lot more research and a lot more best practice, so that we make sure that not only am I providing care based on what my experience is, but also on what the evidence says and what the research says, and I'm able to actually contribute to that body of research.
Dude, that's amazing. You guys are awesome people. I'm so happy
qualified.
I'm like so qualified. Resumes. But no, I mean, that's one of the cool parts about like becoming friends with you guys too, because you're just like really interesting people, and you guys have a lot more depth to you that we'll get into a little bit more and later on the show. People have been really looking forward to this episode and the conversation we're gonna have today. So, but we have to get some things out of the way here, like the segments and everything. B, how have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah. I'm a lot better too this week.
Yeah, you were.
I'm like smiling.
Nearly dead.
Yeah, no. And then something happened last week. I got like a stomach bug or something right before I flew to New York.
Maybe it was like from Lake Lanier. Maybe Lake Lanier just like really just like infested your body.
Also, when I was in pools a lot in like 4th of July weekend.
I'm just gonna do a little plug here. Y'all need to pee after you get out of the pool and out of the plug, because
I'm team no UTI. So
yes,
like,
exactly. That's all I saw this like week after 4th of July was UTIs and ear infections, and I'm like, you guys dump your ears out. Pee after the pool.
Right.
But
so that's kind of like, there was a lot going on there, so it could have been a plethora of things. But what'd you get into this weekend, B?
Well, I had bangers I had John V's party.
John V and her banger parties.
They were great. It was great. I was one of maybe 3 girls there. There were so many dudes.
Yeah. They're cool dudes.
God.
But we need more girls, I guess, so.
Yeah, no, well, John V was mad I didn't invite more girlfriends.
Yeah, what the hell?
None of them could come.
Oh, man.
But that was fun. Went to Tongue and Groove, danced my little booty off,
cool.
as I tend to do. I went to the pool with our former guest co-host, Taylor Marie.
TM, what's up?
Yeah,
Cool.
We had a lot of fun, and I did pee afterwards, so don't you fret, Melissa.
PSA.
Don't you fret.
PSA, TMI, UTI.
And then I just like hung out this weekend like in Inman Park area and got drinks with friends. Like,
Nice.
it was like I felt like I was busy. I was like everywhere, and I went to James' birthday party for a little bit, but like not very long, honestly. I wasn't feeling super up for
Wow,
it.
you went everywhere, and that's awesome. I wish I could have. I was back in Lake George, my hometown, and I got to perform with my friend JT. So shout out to him and his band. And it was like awesome, like an awesome experience. And I got to hang out with all my friends and stuff. So it was just a nice time. And I like did a little reflecting, after like feeling like shit after 4th of July. I was like, I think I need to like make some changes, like, it's all baby steps. You can't make changes like all at once and stuff, but there's like things like working out with you, and and also it's today we're recording this podcast. It's Wednesday, but July 17th, but a year ago today I quit cigarettes. So
Yay! Let's
get the live crowd going. Air horn for that.
This is my favorite update.
Yeah, because I didn't want to die.
Fatality.
But 1 year it's kind of crazy, because like when I started that journey, it was like you tell people it's been 2 weeks, they're like, all right, talk to me in like 6 months, and then I talk to them 6 months, they're like, all right, talk to me in a year, and like I finally got the year.
Yeah,
so
that's like usually me.
I'm a
I was
quitter.
usually that bitch. I was like, we'll see how long.
Yeah,
Keep
no.
it up, pal.
I understand. It's a hard thing to quit, and it's been hard. Like, not saying that I haven't hit a jewel or smoked a hookah or something once in a while or whatever, but cigarettes are like the worst. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're literally
no,
you would know.
Yeah. if anybody's
Not saying you
trying,
smoke.
no, I know, no, I don't. But like
Yeah.
we do a lot of education on this, and actually, if you are trying to quit, they've started to recommend that you switch to the Juuls or the like those because they're water vapor versus like ash, right? So cigarettes are
carcinogens
burning
and
their
stuff.
ash, and
Right.
like same thing if you're smoking other things, right? Like if you're using water vapor versus like
I think she means
a
cigars.
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 Yeah.
Unfiltered cigars.
Yeah. Then you
From the gas
want to
station. Cigars.
switch to something with water vapor.
Right. That makes complete
so-
sense to me.
So that is like a good step, and then
Yeah.
you can like lower and moderate your nicotine level down, and then so on and so
I think
forth.
once you've quit cigarettes and you haven't done that for a year and you still continue to smoke other things, it still like puts this kind of same stuff on you though. You don't want to do this. You don't want to be like attached to like a habit like smoking.
Yeah.
So those were kind of things that like I was reevaluating, over the weekend and stuff. So I had a good time, but now we're back and stuff. What's up? Oh no, we're good. I think.
Okay. I don't know.
It's just looks
Okay.
like it's not, but it's going.
Sorry.
Thanks for checking.
I get nervous.
No,
like-
I know, I feel you, but that's
You're
why
like,
we got the backup now.
I know.
V.
Side note, sorry, I had to like double check. It didn't look
Yeah,
like we
you're
were
making
actually
me have
recording.
to go double check again.
Sorry.
But with all that being said, we almost missed our flight for you know what? Quick hits! Yo, what do we got for some quick hits, V?
Oh man. Okay, so So I'm actually going
All right,
to
keep
Chicago
talking, 'cause now you're making me have to
tomorrow.
go
Yeah,
look.
go check it. But in Chicago, there was an alligator found in Humboldt Park Lagoon, and it took them a week. They finally caught it, and they named it Chance the Snapper, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
But yeah, they had to bring like somebody from Florida up to catch this alligator because like nobody in Chicago would know how to get an alligator. Like I don't even know why that alligator was there.
That headline
I don't know.
started with like Florida man gets flown to Chicago.
Like, literally.
He gets his hand bitten off by alligator.
But he caught
You
it.
guys know that Florida man stuff?
Oh man.
Yeah,
it's your
I work in
birthday, and
news, so
that's
it's like
great,
every day there's like 3 headlines like Florida man.
And you're just not
Like,
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes
At all.
crazy.
And they had
so.
those like memes where you like were supposed to type in like your birth date and
Yes.
Florida man to see what Florida man stories popped up. Those
like
were
your
great.
like porn star name or whatever.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So Area 55.
You guys coming with us?
What's
Area 51?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. So like,
51.
what we're gonna do, training wise, we're gonna have somebody dress up in like a green suit and have you go over obstacles and like grab them.
That'd be
Have
amazing.
you seen
Yeah,
that?
I've seen that.
It's good
I've seen
training.
those videos.
You know, I
It's
was looking at that. I was
On your
like,
back.
I saved that to my collection on Instagram. I'm like, oh,
Those
like,
are-
cool.
I have
It's cool
somebody
to-
that's into this.
Yeah.
We
You
can
know
do
what?
this.
Actually, we probably shouldn't say this on air, but like those escape rooms and all that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
What if there was like workouts like that where like it felt like
geez.
themed workouts, like you have to like escape Area
I mean,
51.
this may be an idea. Here.
Right,
We'll have
here
to,
we
we'll
go.
have to explore this a little more.
I like
of it,
this.
you know?
I like this. So yeah, I mean,
It's like
people
a viral thing. So I guess it started like around June 27th. Some like random like meme Facebook page created
Mm-hmm.
an event that was like let's raid Area 51, and then it just like caught on from there. Like the internet is wild. Honestly.
is.
From
I
what
mean-
from what I heard, it was like 1 million people. It's like gotten up to an insane number on Facebook of people that have responded to the
To this
page,
event, yeah.
which really means only like 5 people are going to show up.
Yeah.
Right.
So the 5
By
people trying to
party
raid Area
terms.
51,
Well,
it's,
but also apparently the Department of Defense is going to show up because now they're monitoring
Oh,
the
of course.
situation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
So-
a government
so-
facility. You don't think
They're
like
like
you're gonna get microwaved out there, and there's probably like they're gonna move the aliens before that day.
yeah, it's like you guys have already given yourself away. There's
mean,
really no
yeah,
like,
no.
If you have seen Stranger Things, like they literally probably have facilities that have like elevators that go down like way below.
yeah,
so it's like it's gonna
Oh,
look
for
like Walmart,
sure.
but it's actually like underneath. So
yeah,
you guys are
my
not getting
Walmart
anywhere.
out in the desert. Strange.
I think it's a funny thing, but like the people there are. Do you think there's serious people? Like, do you think
Let's
they'll probably get to like the outskirts?
Just statistics alone, out of 1 million people, there's got to be somebody that's going to take this.
Watch us
seriously.
start the next like crazy festival where everyone's just
Like,
like
yeah,
on,
it's
like
the
in the
next
desert.
Fire
I like the
Fest.
official. I like the official like statement from the Department of Defense. That's something in there like we will defend this facility. I'm just like,
well,
okay,
that means they're gonna kill you.
that's exactly what that
Yeah.
means.
So
Yeah.
don't go there.
Fatality.
if you want to stay alive, don't go
Oh
there.
jeez.
What else we got here going on?
So there's some body shaming, like weird stuff happening for
What?
celebs. Jason Momoa, people were like seeing this pic of him, like, you know, he's off, he hasn't been filming stuff for a little bit, so he's like not completely like cut like he usually is, and people are like, Jason Momoa has a dad bod, and I'm like, he's still pretty cut.
I don't feel
know.
bad for him at all.
Like, why are people saying that?
And we can talk further about this, but like,
Yeah.
so the way that they get those kind of cuts in movies is often by like extreme dehydration.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
yeah,
insane.
it's unhealthy. Like people are passing out. So like when you think about what was that? Hugh Jackman, right? Hugh Jackman. So he was ripped
Wolverine.
in X-Men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Ripped.
when he's Wolverine, yeah.
He passed out so many times, and they would have to rehydrate him with fluids, but then they couldn't
Jesus.
film.
Yeah, because they're like,
he
the
wasn't as
bloat.
cut.
Yeah.
And like that's not
What the
healthy.
hell?
That's not okay. So that's like that unrealistic body standard that we're
Yeah.
putting not only on women, because women often get it, right?
Yeah.
But on men too. Like, y'all, you can look good and not like die.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
That's a big
yeah,
one.
that's like the things they have to go through. Like, and Chris Pratt was a great example of this when he did Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
like
Is
always did the
he
videos
look-
of like his like barely any like food that he was able
Yeah,
to eat.
so he's
like,
not eating food.
Yeah.
He's working out an insane amount. He's cut out a lot. Like, he's made some good habit changes, like no beer, things like cutting out some of that good stuff. But at the same time, like, that's not a sustainable way to
No.
live, and that's not a sustainable way
Nah.
to look.
That's why,
Right.
yeah, like that's why like it's like so ridiculous when people try to like emulate like these celebrities like that. It's like, yeah, like they do this for roles. Like also it's like their job, so like they can obviously make drastic changes
Yeah, they're getting
on a
paid
whim
to
because
do
like
it.
it's like what that's all they have time
Yeah,
to
and
do.
what if he like wants to get a role where he's a little chubbier? Like, you know
Yeah,
what
let's
I'm
go back
saying?
to Parks and Rec.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
And that's
like-
the thing. They have like all the support. They have the medical staff. They have personal trainers. They have
Yeah,
nutritionists.
we don't got
They
that.
have all that.
I got
you know?
V.
And that's
Yeah,
And
and
Gatorade.
you got me.
I got Caleb.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like our like the whole thing with like him being a personal trainer.
Actually,
is
you
that-
guys are like
Yeah.
if I were to have
This
a
is
crew,
your-
this
this
would
is
be
your
a good crew.
entourage.
Yeah. Get me cut, wake me up, fluids.
But that's the whole
We'll get
thing
you
with
that
like
now.
balance is key,
Yeah.
right? Like have your cupcake, but like maybe not 8.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
Don't have your cake too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, so that happened. I saw the picture of like they caught like John Legend like making a face
weird
while she
face.
was standing up, and it was like he
It
was
was
looking at her
Chrissy Teigen,
ass or
like-
something.
And like, but Chrissy Teigen has come out saying like that she doesn't have like a huge ass. Like she doesn't. Like that's just not
No,
how
she's
she's
a booby
built.
girl.
And she was just like, so she's always like the first to jump on like to make fun of herself. So like she definitely, because everyone's like, oh look, like John doesn't like that she has no ass.
And that's
like,
why
blah,
she's
blah,
hot.
blah.
Like she can like make fun of herself, and like even though
Yeah.
she's a beautiful woman, like you know what I'm saying.
personality.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
she's
think
good.
BB Rex is it BB Rexia? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah,
she
BB
kind of
Rexha.
does that same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
she's hot though.
Yeah.
I don't know, all of them
got
are.
it all.
But you've been seeing those the Kylie ones where she went and did like
Oh, where she
people have
sort
been
of,
like body shaming her lately.
People have been like saying that she's been photoshopping her pictures lately.
I think it's called plastic surgery.
I mean, like, yeah, her body isn't real. Like, there's no way.
yeah, it's
like,
kind of
all
crazy.
real.
Like you can change like that.
Yeah.
Like oh my god, in front of the public, it's crazy.
It's yeah.
It's
Lame.
like she's really good at keeping secrets though for being so public. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, she
Kind of
kept her whole
crazy.
pregnancy
Oh
a secret.
yeah, what do we got here? 13 Reasons
So,
Why.
13 Reasons Why, which was, based on the teen novel back from like 2007, made multiple seasons of a Netflix TV show.
Great show.
I think they
Brought back cassette
they
tapes.
bastardized that book, so I'm not a fan. But
You didn't like the show?
no, because they changed everything. But finally Netflix listened and they cut the very graphic suicide scene from the first season because first of all, that's not at all what happened in the book. Second of all, like the rate of teen suicides went way up the month following the release of that and like
Oh, they didn't really talk about that, did
of
they?
course they didn't.
No.
Because,
It's like,
like,
be something
They
that's
didn't put
advertised.
any resources back at the end of it. Now I think they've changed that now, where they put
Yeah.
the suicide hotline in the credits. But
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the beginning, they didn't do anything, and I'm like, look, that's like a triggering image.
it's,
if
and it
you've
was
ever,
like it's like pretty much like a how-to. It's
Yeah.
like which like for like impressionable teens and like how they romanticize the idea of like
Yes.
how she
That was another thing the kid said today in this interview. Like he did. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, being so young and having like these thoughts, like where do you even learn to do? He's like, the media, like saying they
things,
talk
yeah.
about it
Yeah.
all the time and
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
we've
I'm
seen
sure.
suicidal thoughts as young as like 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is it's an epidemic. It's a thing.
That's crazy, especially when it's like on one of the hottest shows for teens, like, you know. But it is a good show, and they came back with season 2. But they're moving past the whatever Hannah storyline now, so there's gonna be other things they talk about in season 3. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, so apparently they edited it out.
They purposely wanted to do it before season 3 dropped because, like, obviously, like, the playback rates go up for like earlier seasons,
Right.
like when a season drops.
You might wanna watch it again.
So they're like, oh well, I want to like catch up, or like, nah, I'm interested, whatever. And they wanted to make sure they took that out before like fresh eyes or like just a resurgence of people are watching it again.
You guys like being young?
What?
Do you guys like being young?
Because
Because why is everyone putting their old faces up on Facebook and
the
Instagram?
face app. The face app. First of all, I hate it. Second of all, that app is like run by Russians. It's taking all your data. It's taking your likeness.
Okay.
Like, it's not something you should probably be even using. Like, it's gonna.
Yeah, you're gonna see like Russian terrorists that look like
I
us.
took the Snapchat filter that changed you from like a man to a woman, and I did that, and I took that and put that on the face app, and I terrified myself.
Oh
So I
my
put it on my
God.
Instagram story just to like let everybody else.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was.
But it's kind of
God,
crazy
it was bad.
because, like, dude, literally, like, my boy Nails, he put up a meme that he made, and it was like a picture of like a guy with his girlfriend, and the guy was looking back at another girl, like, damn, like checking her out, and it said, the guy was like, it was the girl, his girlfriend was the bottle cap challenge.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like he was you, and then
Yeah.
the hot new girl that he was looking at was like the
Was
face
the-
change, the face app change. So it's like it made him completely. We were just talking shit about the bottle cap challenge. When is it gonna end? And then this one comes,
Yeah, no,
and I'm like,
no,
damn,
I'm
bring back the
already
bottle.
over it. Yeah, I'm already over it.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, what
This
is it
happened, like-
about people?
that
Why
was,
do
like,
people want to
instant
do
too,
it?
like-
Like, I don't have.
Well, and like face app's been
I'm not saying like
around.
as you obviously said you did it. I'm not trying to make fun, but
no.
I'm just trying to think of like people just like see it and then do it.
Hive
Like
mind.
it is kind of
Got it,
crazy.
yeah.
I don't really. I don't know. I don't like rush to see what I look like when I
I mean,
get old.
do you think people are scared though of that eventuality, and like this gives them like some kind of
Oh,
like
for sure.
An
piece
out.
of
No,
like,
there's
they
no
feel like
way.
they
know,
can
I
do
know,
it?
Unless you look like a good-looking old person, because like
Not
it's not.
always.
I looked like as like an older guy. I looked exactly like my dad, and I was like, okay, well,
Yeah, well that
You're
makes
like,
sense.
I guess I
Yeah, exactly.
could've
Like,
known
well, I
that.
know
You know, time does a little bit more than just like put wrinkles in like spots.
But
on
that's
your
like the fear of the unknown, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm young and hot now. Like, what am I gonna look like then? And then
Yeah.
you're like, so you can like mentally prepare yourself to freak out about how ugly you're gonna be when you're
It
old.
is kind of
you know?
interesting. We live in
Yeah.
a time where you can kind of like
See
glimpse into the
that.
future, because like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
actual technology they would use for like finding like missing children that had been
Right.
gone forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
age.
they had the
Progression.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
so that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I was hearing those like things about it being a Russian app and
Well,
stuff.
it's just like, I mean, like they like if you
They're
look
like,
at if you look at their like different like the terms of it, like they're allowed to use your likeness, use any photos and anything, like even if you delete it or whatever, like they still have it. So just
we
you know,
don't read nothing on
I
those
mean,
apps.
you know, privacy is fleeting in this modern world. I like to hold on to what I can.
Right.
fair.
Let's get through the rest of these quick hits. Time Magazine named people like Lil Nas X, Cardi B, and many more for most influential people on the internet, which is a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
A
you
lot
guys
of
are
people
familiar.
of color in that list, which I am a
Should we
fan
have a
of.
cheers for that?
Yeah, I get
Yeah, I was about to say.
Cheers for
I
that.
like
good-
I
yeah.
like people
Yeah,
that
direct him.
she's producing. Okay.
Do it.
Cool. But yeah, no, good for them, because like, Lil Nas X has been having the craziest year so far.
I know
if you
he's
guys-
only a couple weeks away from beating that top 1 record. If he better,
nuts.
God damn it, I'm gonna put his songs on streaming like throughout the night. I want him to get there.
He just knows how to like get out there. Like even from like the way he got his first song out there, he just knows how to work the internet. It's kind of crazy how people are just naturally like that.
Well, and cheers to him for coming out too. Like
Right.
I
to
loved
come out
it.
on a national stage like that. That takes serious.
Yeah, I mean that's
and just like so nonchalant about it. He's so Gen Z about it. He's just
Right.
like
whatever.
Yes.
He's
it
like,
is
yeah,
what
you
it
guys
is.
didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
You didn't know.
y'all didn't know.
I did,
Like,
actually.
get over it.
And then lastly for quick hits, they're getting R. Kelly out of here.
Thank
Yes.
the good
They
Lord,
got him.
baby Jesus.
I mean, when like the government steps in and like I think they said they have like over 20 like tapes.
Well, and they kept finding how he was paying off different people too.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are going down for this.
That turns into like a whole other like thread, and like so like everyone's like, okay, well, you're done for, bud.
Yeah. So good.
Finally.
He's still trying to like work
See
his
you
way
later.
around it. Like, hey, can I just get house arrest or something? It's like, no, dude.
No.
All your problems start at the house. But yeah, no. That's pretty crazy, man. Get him out of here, R. Kelly. Ugh. Yo, V, what made you go yikes this week? Like, what made you like?
We're gonna have to create some sort of segment starter to this.
That's
so,
my
like,
segment
I don't
starter.
have to keep hearing
All
you
right,
be
but what
like,
makes you go yikes?
Okay, so I kind of have two yikes.
Okay.
Well, the
Two
one,
yikes.
A mini yikes is
Okay.
just the whole. I don't know if you've all seen the video of the guy at Boss Bagel, excuse me, in New York, like getting into fights. Now he's actually, I guess he's like starting like some thing to like potentially fight other viral internet stars, like where they're gonna match him up with like like the hide
like
your
a
kids,
TV
hide
show.
your wife kind of thing or stuff like that.
They're doing a TV show.
Kind of
But he's
something
like
like some sort of video series.
It's like an act. It's a bit, right? Like it's not like it's like the soup guy from Seinfeld. Like, you want soup? No soup for you. Like that type
I
of
don't
stuff.
know, but
Soup
like,
Nazi.
well,
Yeah,
now
soup Nazi.
I think now he's like spinning it off to that, but like, yeah, he just like started a whole fight in.
There's a couple businesses I've seen.
Bagel.
I've seen like a hot dog stand once where like the lady just talks shit to you the whole time while and you like
Well, that's
pay
like,
for that.
Yeah,
like,
but that's different. Like
or
he
like
doesn't
Dick's
work
restaurant.
there.
They rate like
He
things
was
on
a
your
page-
hat.
Are those still around? The Dick's
I think
Yeah,
they're like in like
they are.
Myrtle Beach and
There's
stuff.
one
They're
in
like there's one in
Indianapolis, and we
Chicago
live there.
still.
Probably one in Florida, but
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah,
He was a patron. He wasn't like working there. He was a patron, and like he started like starting shit with women because he was saying like how women on dating apps told him to die because he's short, and then like he kept like saying shit so somebody beat him up. So, but now he's probably gonna make money off of it. So good for him, I guess. But he seems like an awful guy. But my main yikes moment was Jermaine Dupri coming out and trying to say that all female rappers right now are just strippers who rap and all they rap about are their pussies and things like that. And I have a couple qualms.
well, I don't think he said the P word.
He said,
I think he said it in an interview. Like,
I think he said pussy.
I don't. Maybe he did. I thought I heard a clip of it, and pretty much he was like kind of like treading, but he was essentially saying, all female rappers right now are just kind of talking about the
Strippers who
same
rap,
stuff.
yeah. Which like my several qualms. Okay, a large majority of male rappers, that's all they've been rapping about for a while.
Right, that's one of the biggest
One
things
qualm.
about it. Mhm.
Second qualm, why can't we let women
Like selling
be
drugs and
sexually
stuff, yeah.
free in their rapping? Why can't we let them, say their thing when men have been doing that all along? Like, I think that should be fine. Third thing, there's plenty of other women rappers that don't only talk about that. And, like, he's, like, not even lifting any of them up. So it's kind of just like, Jermaine Dupri, where are you coming from?
I kind of understand what he was trying to say. If you're a fan of Jermaine Dupri, he's huge here in Atlanta.
Well, yeah,
He's got-
obviously.
he-
You can see him when you go up the escalator in the airport. He's like one of the guys who flashes across the screen. It's like
right.
Jermaine
I mean,
Dupri.
he's known for bringing up acts like Criss Cross, Bow Wow,
Yeah.
Ludacris, Usher, all these people. So he's got hits under his belt for like
he's obviously
decades.
got cred and clout.
And most of those songs like don't really have like the rappers that talk about like the same stuff and everything. Like there's a little bit more content in the music he makes. But there are other rappers out there, like female rappers. Like he's just talking about like the poppin' ones that are in public right now and the like face of everything. But there's other female rappers that don't lean towards like that type of music.
And even if they do, I guess like I don't think it should be a problem. Like that obviously sells, and it's been selling for men for years.
Yeah, I think they just caught him, and he's like just kind of made a generalized statement, and those statements you can't really make these days because there's no freedom of speech apparently. So,
Okay.
I have a question. Do you
Yeah.
think that your masculinity is a little threatened by what he said? Like you're trying to defend him because like
No, not at all.
No, but wait, because what we're talking about, right? If we're talking about Cardi B, talking
Yeah.
about getting down on like whatever, I don't know a lot of rap, sorry.
Yeah.
That's
But
fine.
like, and then if I listen to like guys in the car, like they're singing about their dick all the time. guaranteed there's a threesome going on, right? There's something
Some
happening.
big
She's
booty
pulling up
bitches,
into
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Like, have you ever had your legs tied to the bedpost? Like, those are lines like straight out of the thing. So what we're saying is like, is he holding women to a higher standard when he's not holding men to the same standard? Now, not every artist is the same, and not every artist is going to produce stuff that is like a higher content, right? And they can produce a mix too. So I just don't know. You know, I think a lot of guys are going to be quick to jump on that bandwagon and say like, oh, hey, no, we're going to defend him because like, yeah, that's all I hear from Cardi B. That's all I hear from like, but then what about, you know?
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like a general, like he generalized it. And by saying that, it's like, that's just what is hot right now. Like, that's what, like, if you're rapping like that, like that's what people are interested in hearing. So that is going to be at the top of like his listening list. And what I'm saying is that it was an ignorant statement in the fact that like you're overgeneralizing to the point where there's other female rappers that talk about other things.
And also I think it's just overgeneralizing, saying like that can't be good, because I think
right.
like,
I mean, he was just kind of like rolling it off his shoulders. So I'm not like defending like him on that stuff, but it's more of just like, you know, the context of it. Like, you know, he was asked about female rappers. He just like spoke on them. He wasn't asked about like, what do you think about the state of rap or male and female? Like he made a generalized statement like that. So I think, you know, when it comes to those type of things, like, you know, he said his opinion. He's getting kind of reamed, but like he was one of the first people to bring up the Brat. I don't know if you guys know who that rapper is, but she was the first like female rapper that kind of broke molds for female rap.
But
because
she sang about her pussy all the time.
Well, no, she's saying about because she was a lesbian, so she was like more of like
it's okay if she sings about it that way.
Well, I mean,
because another woman's involved, like so.
Well,
it's
I'm just
still
saying, like
objectifying
it kind of came from like a different angle than like, you know,
So
if you were like
that's because it's still putting women in a place.
still putting it in a higher place,
instead of where women are like
I
saying it about themselves.
I haven't heard a lot of the Brat, so I can't really like see what her lyrics were about. But I don't really remember like talking. I'd always thought she was more lyrical than talking about that type of content, but maybe it was. But
I mean, yeah, there were good lyrics. There are always good lyrics, right? But like a fair
think
amount of her songs.
Yeah, he was
that.
more talking about like flowing and rapping as opposed to just being like ass, like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what he was talking about. In hip hop right now, that's a huge conversation. It's like mumble rap, and then you got like conscious rap and stuff like that. And he comes from like the old school, so a lot of the old heads and OGs in the hip hop game are there. It's just hard for them to understand. Like they just kind of are just like, yeah, whatever, I know what's hot. So it's a couple different things that are adding to like the conversation. That's why it, you know, it's definitely a yikes moment of the week, you know, but it got people talking, you know, about female rappers. And right now the biggest rappers in the game are like females right now. Like all you hear is like Megan Thee Stallion.
Melody Thee Stallion is my bitch. I love her.
Yeah, you see Cardi B, you know, City Girls are up in there. Yeah,
City Girls. I go on and on.
So yeah, there's a lot out there right now, and you know, Jermaine Dupri, you know, kind of.
Like educate yourself.
I still lost my shit when Missy Elliott came out in the Super Bowl a few years back.
Oh my god, dude, Missy Elliott.
I kept running out of the room like it's her. Like,
she was one of my favorite artists growing up.
She's great.
She was another one that broke the mold, like, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. I would like to see if like Jermaine Dupri's, I think, at the point where he doesn't care about no backlash or whatever. Like when they were talking about the Super Bowl and stuff like that, he was like, why don't you get Atlanta people? And then it was like he was talking, he was like, if they asked me to do it, I would do it, but like it was a huge like African American like, you know, like thing against it and stuff. So he's really doesn't give a shit about anything. He's gonna say the way he feels and do what he wants and stuff. So I think he's just at that like fuck it point. So I'm not really surprised he says whatever he wants. But yeah, I mean, now that we've kind of gotten all the, you know, house cleaning done, why don't we talk about you guys a little bit? How was you know, how'd you guys have been married for how many years now?
Since 2012.
2012.
Okay, wow.
We've been together since 2010.
Yeah.
Wow. Really long time. That's like almost a decade here.
Almost a decade.
Wow. That's more than most.
We're good at it
here. I really have to put it in like numbers terms for me.
Perspective.
Yeah, I don't got no doctorate or nothing, but yeah, no, yeah, that's a really long time. I mean, most marriages like don't even make it that long, you know. So how have you guys? What makes like your relationship different than most, and how you guys live your life, you know, and have made it this long? You know, this is kind of I've had conversations with you. I'm trying to figure out the best way to like dive into it, but
Well,
most of the time
so
when we talk
I
about
would
it,
say-
we're drunk.
Yeah, like how do you
There you
guys
go.
like
I would say,
identify your
like-
relationship?
Right.
Yeah.
So like our relationship is open, right? Our consensually non-monogamous, ethically non-monogamous, or relationship anarchy. Those are all words that
Ooh,
we
relationship
can
anarchy. I've
really
never heard that one.
go through. But
That's a good one.
the thing, I think, to answer your question, the thing that's kept us together this long is communication. So there is no like diving in, right? It's like, okay, there doesn't have to be a segue. Like we can just talk about it, and that's how our relationship is. I'm just like,
Well, how old were
I'm
you guys
mad
when you
today.
met?
19.
I was 19. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
super young.
I
You
was
were
20.
20. You were 20.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Um,
super young. Just the
I mean-
relationships starting that young are just hard enough. Like
We
you
met
know?
in a strip club though.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was
did.
a dancer for a good 9 years.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And that got me through school.
Hell yeah.
So here we are.
People don't say that much
Hey.
anymore. You don't really hear. They're
No.
like, I'm getting more boobs.
Yeah,
With my
but,
money. I'm going to
um,
school. That's
No,
awesome.
it absolutely freed me from debt, freed me from a boyfriend that I had that was not a great relationship, that it did lots and lots of things for me, and I'm really, really proud to be able to say that that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Even though it's not super PC to say, right? But I'm not really a PC person.
I was about to say.
But then, we met, I gave him my number, and I was like, I'm a stripper, you probably won't call me. And he
So
did.
yeah, the stripper asked me out.
Boy, holy cow. I got my sound effects ready here.
I definitely didn't have that. That was That's okay. We'll let that one fly. I still have the napkin with the number on it. I still have the
cute as
napkin.
That is cute as hell. Get that shit laminated, bro.
Right.
Eventually, it just sits in the bottom of the
Plaque
watch box now. But it's
Yeah.
still there.
It has like
Still there.
the logo of the strip club like on the corner
I think
of
it's
it.
on the ticket actually.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I think you do still have the
Think so.
ticket.
That's a fun, if you guys ever have kids, like fun story to tell right there. Little, I'll pass this down to you, son. Pass it down to you.
But that's the thing. I mean, we met so young.
Yeah.
So young. And he had not had the same kind of relationship experience that I had had. And I was always from the very beginning, I was like, well, if you want to do something with like somebody else, like just let me know. It's no big deal, right? And he was like, yeah, okay.
Well, of course, me growing up the way I did, I was like, no, like it's okay. No, I'm so happy. Like, it's great. Like, I'm
so
like, no,
happy.
I'm like, you're amazing. Like, this is awesome. Like, I don't need anything else. Like, this is like,
well, we're like, we're grown up to
Socialized.
socialized to like be like, you're my only one. You're,
Oh, that's how we
you're-
all grow up.
to
Yeah,
make the
especially.
person feel, like like you satisfy them, they satisfy you.
We
and-
expect people to satisfy our every need all the time.
right.
And that's so much pressure.
Yeah.
That's so much pressure in our relationship for me to tell him like, hey, you have to fulfill every need. I can't do it for myself. I also need you to clean for me. I also need you to drive me everywhere. I also need you to work for me. I also need to like
Yeah.
I need you. And then he's like, oh, well, I want you to come to racetracks with me, and I want you to go to baseball games, and
She's like,
I want you to come to office functions, and I want you to do, and like, you're like, I don't want to do any of that. Like, I don't, you
Fair
know?
enough.
But then you do it, and then you're mad, and then you have a fight, and then like you get further and further apart, and you don't talk about what you really feel like, and you don't talk about what you say and what you need, and then you break up, right? And then you have what's called serial monogamy, and that's what we do in our culture now. It's like, hey, I like this person. I'm going to date you for 3 years until we have irreconcilable differences, even though you may have been able to work them out, right? But we're not taught how to do that. So then you break up, and then you date somebody else for a little while, maybe 10 years, maybe that long. And then you break up.
Yeah.
And then you do it again.
Well, because
And again.
one thing you never forget when you're going through relationships is how good they feel in the beginning, especially when you meet somebody.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That
You always had-
honeymoon
they had it-
phase.
yeah, and that's one way to describe it, is the honeymoon phase. Like the more,
It's like before you guys start, like that first fight.
yeah, no, it's
that first fight, you're like, we just had our first
it's
fight.
one of those things you have to give like a lot of acknowledgement to, because there's so much power behind it. And what it's really called in, especially the cultures that we live in and the people that we know that are also in open relationships or those types of relationships, is new relationship energy is a better way to describe it. Like
Ooh.
when you meet somebody,
She
and
likes
you-
she likes
Yeah.
that energy.
Well,
where
you
Like
you-
mean-
big dick energy, but like
it's
new.
big dick energy, but new
Yeah,
relationship
yeah.
energy.
Yeah,
Exactly
I
what it
love
is.
that.
Like you're like so connected to this person, you feel amazing, but you haven't seen them at their worst yet, maybe, or you
Oh,
haven't
You're still
you
putting up
haven't
fronts.
gone through. Yeah, you're putting them on this pedestal that everything's amazing, everything's great. Like, oh, I love this person. This is so great, and that's okay to have that feeling. It's a good feeling to have. And like when you're in open relationships, still, you still get that. And
So, like,
it's a thing.
He'll have a new partner, and then I'll barely see him for like a month, right? And I'm like, oh, new relationship energy. Like,
No, you're just like, yep, that's the
he'll
thing.
be back later, you know, like.
Back later.
That
Just generally true. I mean, I live at the house. I also have to cook. So,
I reside here.
someone's got to feed her after working out.
Right.
Yeah, somebody has to feed me. That's a constant struggle. But like, to go back, so like, it is. I eat so much food.
Hey, get it.
But so to define our relationship for us, like we call ourselves relationship anarchists.
I love that so much.
It is a portion of open relationships, you know, and people can pick whatever label makes them feel good, right?
Of course.
For relationship anarchy, what that means is that our relationships can look any way that we agree on them mutually. So like Caleb and I have a financial relationship because we share finances. We have a roommate relationship, right? Because we have housing. We have a legal relationship because we're legally married even though we don't wear rings. Like we have a romantic relationship. Obviously we love each other, right? We have a sexual relationship because that's what you do. And we also have a friendship, right? And somebody else.
It's beautiful when you put it like that. You break down all those relationships.
Right. But
Separate them
somebody
all
else
out.
can come in and have any of those kind of relationships. Like I've had, you know, people that I just have sexual relationships with, right? Like everybody loves a good fuck buddy every once in a while.
hell
Like,
yeah.
hey,
Oh
let's
my
go
God,
get
my
food.
mom
let's
is
watch a
like
movie.
tripping right now. I already know it. Well, she's
My
old.
mom's gonna listen and she's gonna be like, oh, whatever.
Well, no, my mom
This
is
is something different.
Well, my mom is cool, but like she's from the old school. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's pretty religious, like, you know, so it's like one husband and like you guys become like the same person or something. Like, I don't know, is that the goal? You're supposed to
I
become
don't-
the same person as
I don't
like,
think that
No.
anything's wrong with monogamy.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think that anything's wrong with that as a relationship choice.
Yeah.
I think you have that agreement with somebody, but what I think you miss.
And that's the beautiful part about it is because the other side shouldn't be thinking the same way about yours. Like,
Exactly.
we should just let people live the way it works for them,
Right.
you know? But what were we going to say?
Yeah, no, I just think that, like, you know, having that communication and having that understanding of like what's okay and what's not, and understanding also what society says. So society says you become one person. But you can't be one. You can't be two halves of a whole.
No.
Well, I think
You have to be two whole people that choose to become better than that. That
Exactly.
transcend that, right?
Well, I mean, think how deep that like conditioning goes. Then when you're out just in like regular culture, and now like if people are listening to this, they'll think about this when it comes along. It's when you meet somebody that's married. What's one of the and the other partner isn't there with them at the time. What do you usually ask them?
Like, where's your spouse? Or
Well,
like,
Where's your better half?
That's
Yeah,
funny how that
Where's your
happened.
better half?
Well,
And it's like,
that's funny because
hey,
I
that whole
asked that
half
the
is
other
right
day when
here.
you were
I am
gone.
like,
Yeah.
You were gone.
I am right here.
And she was like, yeah, oh no, he's out in I forgot where you went. Like,
I was in Indianapolis.
with his girlfriend. And,
No, I was in Nashville. Sorry, I was in Nashville.
Nashville.
and she says that like because we were at the bar and I just remember like the girl that was right there, like just like everyone was just like oh, and that's because like, you know, we're not even trained to react to it, like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, so someone says that and you're just like, hey, where's your husband? Oh, he's with his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? It just gotta catch you in like
I
your
would, if she listens to this, she'd be like, I don't know if girlfriend is like partner is probably like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you gotta like, because that's
There's
the
lots
other
of
thing.
terms.
There's lots
lots
of
of
terms.
right.
Because people define things differently.
Like, that's what, like,
and that's
like-
okay. That's okay. But yeah, people define things a lot differently. So you can have partners, girlfriends,
Sweeties,
sweeties,
boos,
sweethearts, like whatever you want to like
lovers,
call
like,
it.
So some people don't like that relationship like label, right?
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
and
want to put
especially like a
girlfriend on
very
it or-
binary label like girlfriend or boyfriend
Right,
might be
yeah.
a little
Yeah.
restrictive.
Yeah,
Very
so partner is what we generally use, and
Default
sometimes I'll
to, yeah.
introduce him as my partner, and sometimes I introduce him as my husband, just depending, like, you know, on
The
where we're
vibe.
at.
'Cause it's the
we
same thing at the
don't.
end of
The
the
thing
day.
is, like, we don't have a hierarchy. Now there are some open relationships that run based on a hierarchy. So you have a primary partner, right? Like somebody that you do most of your things with. And then you have multiple other partners that you might date together or you might date separate. We don't do that for us because I don't think that any one person is more important than anybody else. If I have a partner whose cat dies and Caleb and I were supposed to go to the J-Lo concert, I might go be with my partner whose cat died, right? If they need me. Like,
Yeah.
But it's J-Lo.
but it's J-Lo. So
So then I'll just call V or you and be like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to go to the J-Lo concert?
J-Lo concert, my God.
Right.
Because then I would
Like,
understand.
but
It's like,
like-
hey, somebody else is going to want to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
I might also talk to that partner and say, you know, are you okay? Like, would
Yeah.
it help if I came over? Do you have somebody else? And they're like, yeah, you know, so-and-so's coming over. My friends are coming over, whatever. And I'm like, okay, do you want me to come? Like, no, go to the concert. And then we might say, okay. But that's that communication that I think, and that's what I think really monogamy use a higher dose of, is just being straight up with what you want and like what you think you need and what you're feeling, because we don't do that in the United States.
Oh,
we
no,
don't.
for sure not.
Not even just like with relationships, like or when it comes to like
romantic
relationships,
Like
like
even
friendships,
I think
people to people, like
with romantic relationships, we definitely put a higher value on romantic relationships, and you see that when, and what's the whole thing with like, it happens all the time. It's like your friend gets a new girlfriend, and then you don't see him for 6 months, and you're like, dude, what happened to you? Oh, well, you got in a relationship. Oh, so you were fucking this person. So now they're the priority, and all your friends that you hang out with aren't anymore. That still hurts as a friend.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing, and we kind of joke about it, and like we see it online and things like that. But that is a real thing.
Well, you see it all the time. Pussy whipped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And it's unfair, in relationships to let somebody else be lesser when your friends are there for you. And like, especially if like your friends don't like your other partner or don't like this, that can be really difficult. But then it's also like that saying things like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my friends tonight. But then your partner might be like, well, what do I do
about
alone?
me? What do I do by myself?
you're not including me.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So let me ask you this. It's funny because we were at 4th of July and chilling in the pool. I'm playing music and stuff like that, and then Nick Jonas comes on, and I
The
think I had
Jealous
just,
song,
I think we had just, I had asked you about something about
You asked
jealousy.
me, like, you said, hey, what song do you think? And I was like, man, I'm not really like.
But
I
we
like
had
music,
we had
but
an
I'm not-
honest conversation about like how do you guys deal with like jealousy
Yeah.
and stuff, like
That song
like,
came out.
Oh,
and he was like, I still get jealous, like
Yeah, and then we heard that song and we were like,
This is
yes, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But like,
Oh.
don't you get jealous? Like, on
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think
You
that's
do.
a huge myth. People are like, well, you don't get, you don't get jealous. And I'm like, yeah, I do all the time. I'm like, why aren't you with your girlfriend? Like, I'm cool, right? Like,
Yeah,
but
that's human.
Well, the same thing. He was like, why are you going out with your friends?
jealousy-
We could do stuff right now.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm off. Like,
Right.
But jealousy is a warning flag. Nothing more,
Yeah.
it's an emotion.
right? It's an emotion.
Yeah.
And so when you're feeling jealous,
Is that you that just posted that?
yeah,
Probably.
probably.
That was actually pretty deep. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, that's actually like the way, because I've been trying to think about emotions like that, like or things with my body, like look at the flags, like or like something that's like popping up at you that
Yeah.
it's telling you something.
Right.
Doesn't
Well,
mean it's the way you react though.
Right. Well, and the thing is, like, okay, so like so you have to kind of step back, right? Which is not cute. Nobody likes to step back from their emotions. Everybody wants to dive head first and like, I'm feeling this and you must fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you step back and you're like, okay, I'm still okay. Why am I jealous? I'm jealous because he's spent X amount of money on one of his girlfriends and not on me recently. Is it like what? And then I have to think like, okay, well, am I okay with this? Is this something that we need to have a conversation about? Was it all within his budget? Was it his money? Yeah. Okay. If I'm feeling like I need some more attention, then I might be like, hey, can we like do a date night? I need some attention. Like,
So we are going to the J-Lo concert.
right. We
That's
are.
a thing. That's a real thing. No, that is a real thing.
And I will go.
I
if a cat dies or
surprised her
something.
with tickets, so that is a real thing.
If the cat dies, she's like, no, I'm going at J-Lo. That was just an example.
I mean, she had like he has like all of J-Lo's
Hypothetically.
like tights. Like those are like her favorite things. So I was like, all right, we gotta like
I love
Yeah.
But so then I have to say, right, is this a social conditioning thing or something that like I can just let go of? Like, he's got the new relationship energy going on, for instance, like, and I might just be like, you know what, this is just a natural process. This is gonna chill out in a little while. Like, I'm cool
like,
with it.
just ride that wave
Well,
out.
just ride it out and let it go.
Yeah, and I think like anybody asks like, what's the one advice you give to like people like it's more about getting people together. Like you want more partners, more things. It's like actually being open is committing yourself to being alone.
Yes.
You are 100% your own person, and by doing that, like you're like, oh yeah, this is great. We're open. We're gonna have sex with other people. We can do all these different things, and then those things happen. It's like, oh shit.
But then a
What
partner
do I do?
leaves, right?
Yeah. Now your partner's
Yeah.
not there for the night. Now what do you do? When was the
Yeah.
last time you were alone and did something for yourself?
Yeah, or even like you have breakups. Breakups are a thing that
Breakups are
happen
hard.
frequently.
Yeah.
Because
Just like they do in monogamous relationships.
Just like they do in monogamous relationships. Like you're not safe. You're not ever safe in a relationship.
No, of course not.
And I think monogamy gives that illusion of safety for people. They're like, oh, I have a person,
And we crave that as humans.
and we crave it. We
safety.
want to come together, but that's why we chose to be open, is because I want to have multiple people I can turn to. I want to be able to text you on a night when he's gone and be like, do you want to go get a drink? Right? Like a friend, or, you know, I don't have to be fucking him to like be able to like
have good relationships with people.
Well, yeah, and I just feel like from what I've like read or understood about friends that I know that are in like open relationships or things like that, that it's like more about like understanding that like as humans we have multiple different needs, and like that, like what you said earlier, that like sometimes like it's a lot of pressure to put on your a singular partner for them to fulfill all their needs, if like maybe they're not in a super great place to fulfill some of those needs for you. Like I feel like I was listening to a different podcast where they were talking about how like one of the partners was like in a really depressive place, and like they really like sexually like they were not able to fulfill their other partner's needs. So it was like a part of the relationship to be like, okay, like I like you can go to someone else to fulfill this need, because like I can't do this for you right now, and like that's just like how it's gonna be.
But and I think those,
And they don't resent you for
No.
it. Like, you know, like
No, because they
people will
understand,
resent you.
yeah.
Like that's the resentment. Like, you know, you don't want people to resent you for things, and resentment just comes like naturally, like from situations of pressure being built up. Like, right, like even in just some relationships, sometimes like you just don't want to have sex, you're just tired, you're going through it right now at work or something like that, and then it becomes like this huge like
Pressure.
thing.
Oh yeah, like, well, do you not want me? Do you not love me?
And then you just like
Oh,
keep
yeah.
putting it off.
So that's exactly what I was going to
Yeah.
say. So the opposite of love is not hate, right?
Yeah.
The opposite of love is fear. And when you are reacting that way in a relationship, it's because you're fearful. You're fearful you're going to lose them. So like choosing to be open was to say, I know that I'm scared of losing you, but I also know that I don't want you to feel like you have to stay. I want to be my own person.
Yeah, and I want you to stay because you want to stay.
And I want you to stay because you want to stay, you know?
I had 2 questions. I mean, they're,
Yeah.
but you know, and these are like these are things I've talked to you guys about, but for our listeners, you know, I kind of want to open it up a little bit. So you guys talked about your other partners and stuff. Wow, I have a couple things. How do you guys, like, with having multiple partners and stuff like that, how have you guys figured out how to, like, you know, stay safe? And, you know, there's diseases out there and stuff. And how do you guys, like...
Yeah, like, what are, like, ground rules? Yeah.
Are there...
first off, don't have sex in the perimeter. No, I'm just kidding.
don't mess with these people.
But seriously.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
No,
That's a local.
So, I have like a little bit of a soapbox with STDs. So I'm
I was
gonna get
gonna
on my
say,
soapbox for a
hop
minute.
on
And
it.
then
Let's
with
go.
that.
So I, when I was younger, I actually got cheated on. Okay. I had chlamydia. Didn't know it for 2 years, and now I can't have kids for the rest of my life.
Holy
my God.
shit.
Because that's one of the side effects that can happen. You can get, it's called pelvic inflammatory disorder. You know, women have the short end of the stick across the
We
board.
really,
Like,
truly do.
So I
I
advocate
learn
for
something
people.
new every day.
I advocate for people to get tested at least every 6 months, which is what we do, and sometimes with every new partner.
Yeah.
Depending,
You should.
That's-
should
yeah,
use
that's
condoms. You should use condoms.
Big
Just,
fan.
like, put it
Say
out
it
there.
one more time.
But
Say it louder. Put him on the back.
if you don't feel like, if you want to have that agreement with a partner that you don't want to use condoms, like I'm allergic to latex, so I like my condoms are
Polyurethane.
expensive,
Yeah.
like blah 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 blah, right? So I will go with my partners together and we will go get tested together.
I love that.
Yep.
I love
And
that.
because it shouldn't have to be like a scary conversation. Like
No.
STDs happen, like I think like 68% of the United States has HSV2 or something
yeah,
like
one
that.
of the
Like it's a
herpes,
huge
yeah.
thing. Yeah, herpes. Like, but they are long lasting things that that's what makes STDs so scary, is like they last for a long time, for forever.
Yeah. Either forever
So-
or like for a long time.
Yeah.
And they have bad side effects. So like that's my thing, is like if you're not going to use condoms, then that's fine. Just have a conversation and be like, hey, do you want to go get tested? Like Department of Public Health, Empowerment Resource Center, Aid Atlanta, or your regular doctor. All of them can do it. And you can ask for make sure you ask for the test. So you want HIV,
Yep.
syphilis, You can do herpes. So many people have it. It's kind of like
It's kind of, I mean, like, so
hard
many
to-
people
Like,
have
I
it, and
do
it's
it.
dormant, or it, like, just doesn't, like,
so
do anything. It's just, like,
Yeah. So if you know somebody, if somebody has herpes, like, you know, you don't need to stigmatize them or anything. A lot of times they can take precautions to help not pass it to you and like use condoms, that kind of thing. And then you want to do chlamydia, gonorrhea, and maybe trichomonas. Like those are the ones that you should ask for from your doctor. And that's what's recommended with World Health Organization too, is like to get tested at least once a year, every 6 months as you're young, right? We're at risk. We're an at-risk population.
Yeah. Learning so much.
And that's what we
I used to teach people this shit as an RA.
Yeah, and that's what we do is we go get tested, and then if we have a new partner, we usually go get tested again, and you know, it shouldn't be a big deal, y'all. It's just one stick in your arm and some pee in a cup. You'll be all right.
It's like everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
so why not? Like,
so why not have a
actually make it
conversation
work?
about
Safe,
it?
yeah.
And that again.
Well, and that's one of the crazy things that a lot of people may not realize thinking being open. It's like actually the rates of STDs among people that are in open relationships are
it's incredibly low.
incredibly
Well,
low.
yeah, because you guys
Just,
are
like,
talking about it, and like you're doing the precautions. Like you're like, I feel
Well, because
like
you're more prone to it. You're like, yeah, I gotta like be safe about
You have
this.
to.
Well,
No
but
choice.
it's even more than that. It's more the fact that we're okay to have those conversations.
Yes.
Like I never want to sit down at the table with one of my new partners and be like,
So guess what?
so can you show me your papers? Like, no,
Yeah.
you don't want to
Nobody
do
wants
that,
to do
right?
that.
But like if you're like, hey, can we go get tested together just to like be sure, like, and be safe? Like that's a much more approachable conversation.
I think once you get over that, then everything's
Cree.
better.
Clear for
Like,
takeoff.
yeah, there's no
it's
break.
like it's just like a nice thing. Like I have even had a lot of friends like when I was in college who were very much so like, and they were in monogamous relationships, but they were like before they would have sex with like a new person, they'd be like, "Have you been tested?
Yeah.
Like what
That's
is your
great.
status? Like where are we at?" kind of deal. And that's just like, you know, the right thing to do. Like it's just like it shouldn't be so stigmatized.
Right. But sex is stigmatized.
I mean,
in the United States.
yes.
So like
Very
that
much
makes
so.
testing even more, and
Of
like
course.
that, like you
And it
don't-
doesn't
Because
help that
STDs
like
is
different
stigmatized, like-
centers that like make it easy to get those kinds of tests, like Planned Parenthoods or things like that, are like, you know, continuously under fire.
Right.
Because
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, another question I had, speaking of multiple partners, quickly, what's the difference between like relationship anarchist and a polyamorous?
polyamory means multiple loves.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a long, in general.
Okay.
Right. They're looking for a long-lasting, loving relationship with another person. I don't necessarily feel that we need that. Like, out of my partners.
Well, I think and to go back to like relationship anarchy really kind of defines it more across the board as far as like we are open to multiple relationship styles. So let's say I met somebody that let's say V is monogamous. We meet, we have a connection.
yeah,
But I'm still with her, but you're still okay with it, but nobody else. We can probably talk about that and make that work.
Yeah.
Whereas in polyamory, it's like, well, you're not really polyamorous, so. And we found in the past too, like educating people that there's a lot that goes into like trying to explain it to, like when you meet somebody and like trying to do that education and walk them through it, and it can be a lot. But that's why I think we identify more with the relationship anarchy sides, because we're not discounting those people that
don't identify
that way,
yeah.
because what if they find that experience to be something that they've been missing or that they really enjoy, or that it's something that they're okay with. Like why cut that out? So I
Right.
think that's kind of where
Yeah. Like if we met a polyamorous person, then we could conduct a
That
polyamorous
relationship.
style relationship with that
Yeah.
person, you know?
Yeah, I feel like usually polyamory might like tie more to like people see it as more being like kind of like a multi person kind of, not, I guess couple isn't the correct word, but a lot
Throuple.
of the thruple or
triad,
triad,
polycule. There's a ton
Yeah.
of different
Polycule,
words.
yeah, quad.
Quad, yeah.
That's
All
4
of
people, right?
Yeah.
That is 4, yeah. You did
I
the
like my
math
math.
right.
All right,
Bless
so
your heart.
Bless 'em. Another question. So multiple partners means, we were talking about what is it? New relationship.
New relationship energy.
New relationship energy.
Yeah.
I love that.
NRE.
NRE. The breakups. What are those like with being married? You know what I'm saying?
Just
like,
as awful
just as
as
bad.
any breakup
Yeah.
is, right?
Just as
right.
bad.
But I'm just saying, like, it's more of like how, like,
So-
we talked about a little bit, like,
Yeah.
if you're like, what if she starts dating someone that you're like, no, what this is like terrible for us? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I'm sure you don't like, I don't know how you guys express that stuff.
So we don't have a veto power, but
good.
veto power is one of those things where a partner can say, absolutely not, you can't date this person. Some people have that in their relationship. I think the saying is, you know, what, show me your rule and I'll show you what breaks you up. So you have to establish boundaries, you know, but show me a rule, like don't have sex in the bedroom, or like, and so for instance, like that was a couple or people that we dated, the rule was like nobody can have sex in the master bedroom, but then they put all their sex toys in the master bedroom. So what inevitably happened one drunk night, we all had sex in the master bedroom, and then they like closed off their relationship and like started like doing all this other stuff and like just not.
Oh wow.
Yes, this is like a huge deal. Yeah, it spiraled.
And
So but that's what I think, like when you have
First
somebody.
of all, guys, I'm having such a good time like talking about all this stuff
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Like it's super interesting. Like that's why like, you know, I find myself like talking to you guys a lot about it because it's just different. Like I like hearing about different people's lives. Like, you know, it's just kind of crazy that you know, I just we meet so many people, and like what if like this kind of like helped relationships more, like.
Well, that's the whole thing. You can choose.
Yeah,
you can
choose.
order off the menu. You don't have to order the monogamous.
Yeah, tapa
2
style,
children.
baby.
Well, like
you
if
know?
someone's like, well, yeah, this
hard
is
to find
this
another
is the
person
menu,
that
but
thinks
like,
like
what
that,
about the
though.
chef special? Like, you know,
That's like where the
I don't
communication
think
comes
it's
in.
that hard.
Yeah.
I think it's more like just, you know, opening it up. I feel like
Because like, what do you say to a person like if one person felt like, you know, they wanted to do this and the other person didn't, then you're just like, huh.
There are some people that work that.
yeah.
You know, and I think it's all about communication. I think that's what it
Right.
comes down to is communication and being okay with yourself, which is really hard. But
Again,
like
yeah.
knowing that you're going to be okay on your own without another person to keep you afloat. Now, the other person makes you feel good, but they can't make you better.
Well, not
Right.
to say you can't have people around to support you, and that
And
you
you
can't
should.
rely on people.
Because you should.
You should, but
And that's the
also
whole thing.
Yeah.
you
But-
do have to realize.
Yeah, but like
that
another person can't make you whole. Like
No.
going back
Right.
to like the whole.
when you go to
idea,
sleep
like-
at night, it's you. I mean, you're responsible for your emotions and your actions. So, regardless of what that other person does, how it makes you feel is one thing, but also exploring why it makes you feel that way is the other side of it.
But yeah, I mean, I think people think like, oh, I have another partner, so it doesn't matter if I leave them. But that's not true, man. Like that shit
No.
hurts, you know? Especially if it's in a way that you didn't originally set up the relationship. So like if I had said we're committed in a relationship to this other person and then they left me without talking to me, that hurts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Now, if I have a person that like we're like a casual-ish thing, right? Like we never put a label on it, this, that, and the other, and they leave, it still hurts.
Of course. I
It
mean,
still
like
hurts. But
there's still-
you're
yeah.
like
But they-
emotionally tied in some
But
way.
It's
Well, yeah.
also still going to be that like, you know, this is the agreement that we had. We're following that agreement, and maybe,
But
you
like,
know,
all right, so if there was a breakup, do you like go, it's okay, honey? Like, you
Well,
know what
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying?
yeah,
Damn, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, of course, I choose. I'm here for this person. It's not like I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
it's
so-
not like,
like-
it's not like you're like
and-
But
tough
sometimes,
nuts,
Well, 'cause
like,
there's
well,
also-
I'm just saying, is sometimes as a person, you're just kind of just like,
Well, think
fuck
about
that
it
guy.
this
Like,
way:
you know what
like,
I'm saying?
if you're in a monogamous relationship and you inevitably have a breakup,
Yeah.
who do you turn to? You turn to your closest friends, right?
Right.
and,
Well, this is
like,
my closest friend, so
yeah.
why would this person not turn to me for
Right.
that support and help? And like, there may be times like it might go way over my head, and I might not get it, and she might be like, "Hey, need some help right now." And it's like, "Oh shit!" Like, okay, let me check where I'm at and like come down and like actually help you again. Like,
Right.
but we have that, so like, yeah, and that's you would do that if you break up with somebody. You turn to your closest friends, like, "Hey, let's go get drinks." So that she turns to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, let's go get drinks." Like, it's, like that
Right.
shit happens, and like she's done the same thing for me when it's happened to me. Multiple times. So it's not a one-way street where it's like I'm completely fine all the time and she's the one that deals with like.
Have
no,
you guys
it's
ever been hung up on like somebody, like, you know, when you break up with someone, like you kind of like still think about them
We
for
still
a while,
used to like. Well,
I mean-
all the
and you're
part-
like, damn, they're
Yeah.
like a year
But
later.
that,
you're like,
that
Absolutely.
person had an important part of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
So be happy
it's
for
okay
it,
to
but yeah.
be hung up on your old relationships. I think now
Yeah,
if
it's like a memory.
if it's cutting into your life and like you can't
It's
get out of
causing,
bed and like
like,
causing
yeah.
like all this, like that's
Yeah,
just
for, like,
stress.
Something
Like,
else we need to
you know,
work
on
on
that.
there,
yeah,
but
yeah, for sure.
But like I think acknowledging that that person was there for that time and you know it ended. I
yeah,
like
like you're
that.
listening to all the sad songs. Caleb's just like,
No,
oh, come on,
so-
let's party, J-Lo.
love
I'm
the-
real, the
Yeah.
way you
Yeah,
talk.
I love the Portuguese word saudade. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but so it's kind of this feeling of like you're happy for what happened. You're sad that it's over. You know that new things are going to come that are going to be awesome, but like it still is kind of like a grieving,
Still have
right?
that
But it's like
longing.
it's
Yeah,
a
of
grieving, it's a
course.
longing for home. But it's also like a looking forward to new adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that describes my breakups most of the time. It's like
Same.
I'm crying, but also like I know that something else
Like,
cool
yeah,
is going
you
to come
keep going.
along.
Like, it, like, you know, it can't get, like, worse. Like, you're gonna get better. Like,
Yeah.
it's always
Yeah,
gonna get
plus you
better.
already got your number one over here, so it's like.
Oh no, we don't do hierarchy.
We don't-
That's
Yeah,
the thing,
Oh,
he's
so-
right?
not number
Yeah.
one.
Well, your
So
friend, your
hard to
best
get out of
friend, like
that.
you
I
know
mean,
what I'm saying.
you can't discount nearly 10 years of a relationship.
Right,
Like,
right.
that's
Of course,
just
right.
yeah.
But, like, yeah.
I guess numbers is hierarchy, but like you know what I mean.
It
You
is.
know,
You
your
learn
go-to,
those,
your
you
go-to.
learn. That's
But
you're like,
that's that turn on, right? That's that social conditioning right there.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you guys have so much together.
Well,
You've
yeah,
been
and, like, you
together
guys
for
are
so
married,
long.
so,
You're so
like, yeah.
married.
So, yeah.
You're all this stuff. So like, you guys are the most together, and I won't be important. And I'm like, no, that's not true at all. You're
still
important too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it.
Well, there's also like extra layers to it too, because if you guys don't mind talking about it, like you guys are both bisexual, right?
Right?
Right. So I mean, this opens up like even more like
Queer
to
as
the
fuck,
relationship.
yeah.
Queer as fuck.
Do you guys like,
queer
what do you guys
as
like
fuck.
actually? Do you guys use the term bisexual? Do you use any other terms? Like, what do you like?
bisexual.
Okay.
Okay, so let me get on my soapbox.
Do
I know
it.
what you're gonna ask. Okay, how many
Education.
soapboxes do I have? How many did you stack?
You have
'Cause I
quite,
think
you
I
have
need.
quite a few
I think
soapboxes.
like as for a nurse practitioner, we're pretty like clean here, hygiene.
So when bisexuals first organized, and you can look it up, there's a bisexual statement, and they originally said we love people who are our gender and who are other genders.
Blessed.
So people are tripped up by the bi,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not to say anything against pansexuals, right? Pansexual being saying
Yeah,
that
of
they love
course.
all genders, because if that label fits you and that feels like your home, then wear it.
Then use
Wear
it,
honey.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But for us, bisexual felt right. Like
Exactly.
and it's
I'm
not
here for
that
that.
like I've dated trans partners, I've dated girls, I've traded guys, I've dated non-binary people. So I think people get faulted into that bi meaning gender binary, and that's not necessarily true. From the very beginning, it wasn't like that. And bisexuals have a huge history in the queer world, like Marsha P. Johnson, who threw the first brick at Stonewall. Bisexual,
Yeah.
trans, black. Right?
I know.
Like,
I feel this.
and if you look, like, most people don't know that Freddie Mercury was bi,
I knew that.
right? But, like,
You're like, I did. Over
but
here.
that's
Me.
like that's a huge thing is like bi erasure as well as like taking that identity away, because people are like, oh, you're sluts because you're open and you're bi and you're this and you're just
Yeah,
gonna
like, you
sleep with
just
me
can't
and break
make
my
up your
heart and, like,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not true, man. I just really
I don't have to make
appreciate
up my mind.
humans.
Exactly.
Humans as humans, and like I want to do and experience all the things that life has to offer, because like we're only here for this bit. That's it.
Love it.
Holy cow, guys!
Saya's mind has been blown.
Look how I'm sitting right now.
Like,
dude.
you know,
Like,
I feel like-
we've
I feel
talked
like-
about it a bunch of
we
times.
talk
like, at
about
the
it a lot, but I'm
pool
just
and,
like really, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about our listeners, like you know what I'm saying, like you know, it's.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
It's
think
a
a
bit-
lot
yeah, I
of
wonder-
people like know about this
Well, I think
stuff. You
when
know,
we
Some people do.
first
'Cause we don't
talked
talk
about
about
some
it.
people. I said not a lot though.
I know,
yeah.
yeah.
When we first talked about this and possibly doing this as like an idea on the podcast, it was, to me, it was such a great idea because this is a pop culture podcast. So the only way for us to make all of this stuff normal is to talk about it in that space that people read the news, they listen to songs, they listen to all these things.
Yeah.
Bring it to the forefront where that's like, that can be our goal, our mission, like just to make this normal.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like even more like pop culture icons have been trying to like,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
have.
do that kind of thing. Like Halsey has been very like open about being
Love
bi, and like she like even when she's performed without me, like she used one of my favorite dancers, Jay Chenoweth, to like do that dance to show it that way. Even though like, you know, like if a lot of people are like, oh well,
Yeah.
she's talking about G-Eazy in this,
Right.
it's like, well no, she's talking about all of her relationships,
yeah.
no matter what gender it is.
Even in her song, even in that song, she has he and she. Like
Yeah.
she has both.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's a thing, you know. And we've seen, so like they've done some studies, and about 5% of the population now identifies as being involved in an open relationship.
I love that.
That's huge.
Which
that's
is
a
honestly
lot of
probably
people.
higher too.
Yeah.
It's probably
I know,
higher. I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, how many people?
Same
Like, there
as,
might
like,
be like less people than
That
like,
you're just
you know,
not
whatever.
gonna.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think like for me, you know, I'm pretty straightforward. I like girls, like you know what I'm saying.
Hey.
But when it comes to this stuff, though, a lot of people like, because they don't know about it or have never had a conversation or
Yeah.
heard a conversation about it, you know, they can be labeled as like a hater on it or something like that. So like for me, my interest in it is just to be able to understand it more and
course.
to see how other people live, because me more than anybody know that we're all different, and what works for this person is not going to work for this person, but could, I don't know, it's just everyone has, and I just like seeing like happy people, you guys are really nice, good friends of mine now, and and you guys live a different life than I do, and it's just like more people could probably benefit from hearing how other people live, and how they're making it work.
Knowledge.
Right.
Well, and that's exposure, right? That's what we need, is just to have conversations like that. It's okay to ask a question that you're like, how do what do I say? What do I label you? What does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, without like judging, and without like, and it's hard because like you've been hurt, like especially people who are queer like often have been hurt by people, and like you never know if somebody's gonna like throw some hate at you or do this and that. But I think like being able to be there and be open and say, I'm gonna have this conversation with you, and like even if you ask me if like I had a straight kid, if I would put him out in the doghouse, like clearly I would not, right? I would love him,
that's
right?
wild.
But no, that's one of my girlfriends who is a lesbian. They asked that when she was pregnant. Somebody asked her if they would.
This was in Texas, too.
In Texas, yeah. They would let her, if she
Not
would
a
love
Texas
her
fan.
straight child.
Wow, what a
Yeah,
weird
and she
reversal.
was like, she's like,
I know,
well,
it's
what?
like-
Of course I would.
What was
the likelihood is that they
what are you
will be
talking
straight,
I wonder if that question
right?
was just literally coming from just not knowing,
But
like
no, but
some
it
more,
is.
like
Yeah,
right.
and
It
that's
was,
what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Not from
It's
would you,
no,
like
it does. It comes
but
from a
that's-
genuine
that's,
place.
That's
It's just
what we're
like
saying.
Right.
It's like I think on both sides of society, we really need to sit down and say, let me talk to you about why I feel this way. But we don't learn that in the United States either. We don't learn how to talk. Like this all comes back to communication, right? We don't know how to have an argument without being mad at each other and like throwing awful, horrible, hateful things and getting emotionally involved in this
Trying
and
to
the other.
win the argument.
Trying to
Yeah.
win
Yeah,
the
trying to
argument. We
win.
don't know how to talk. We don't know how to even just sit down and be like, okay, let's talk. Like, how much anxiety do you hear when somebody's like, do you have time to talk?
Right. You're like, oh,
You're
yeah,
like,
this is gonna
oh, what?
Instant,
Like,
just you're
yeah,
like,
you're doing the whole thing,
Yeah.
and
we still yell at each other. Too.
Right.
It
yeah, we
happens.
do, we do.
It happens.
like a
But then we usually
natural-
go take a walk after and be like, all right, so what happened? All
Right.
let's-
Yeah, but like that's part of like learning.
to me, it's like, what's the point of even like disagreeing with someone's like way of life if
Yeah.
they're not hurting anybody?
Yeah,
like you know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like, what is there to disagree with? You know,
Right.
and that's what probably my biggest thing with like religion is that like I feel like it is religion. Like that, like set people and their beliefs, and they're like they can't open up their mind to this type of stuff because their religion tells them this is the way it has to be and stuff. Like, do you guys come from any type of religious backgrounds or anything? Or
Very much so, yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So, how has this affected your relationships? Obviously, you just graduated, family came around and stuff. Like, are you guys like close with your family, or do you just kind of keep like a healthy distance? Do they understand your guys'
Closest thing.
lifestyle, or do you discuss it with them? Or do you want to not talk about it?
Oh no, I don't mind.
So have you seen the documentary Jesus Camp?
I know about it.
I don't think I have.
if
That's
you
the
get a
church
chance,
that I went to.
yeah.
Tape over the mouths,
okay.
smack into the faces, speaking in tongues, like
Okay.
not good.
Yeah.
I grew
Right.
up Southern Baptist in Oklahoma.
At a church that broadcast to the heart of terrorism. That's what
Oh,
they
that
said
was the
in a
mega church. I
sermon.
won't name
But-
name the church by name, but it's one of the largest churches in the United States, like within the top 3.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, like my faith hasn't changed, right? But my relationship with organized religion is definitely
Oh,
different.
for sure.
Yeah,
I feel
I think
that.
that's a good way to put it.
And I think that, I think that most of our religious texts have been translated over and over and are written primarily from a male gaze and from a historic gaze. And so having to understand that religion is going to evolve and should evolve with culture.
Yeah.
There are several like queer positive churches, even in Atlanta.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Ton, yeah.
I am.
All over.
And they're like, if you look at the way that people say things, like when you look at Jesus's words, never does he say condemn somebody's lifestyle, right?
No.
Never does he say that. And if you're viewing him as a prophet or Muhammad as a prophet, Muhammad had radical treatment of women, very different than his brothers. If you look, so in the Quran, sorry.
I have a friend named Corinne, so it's straight to the forefront.
But, same thing, right? Radical treatment of people who are different from you. Acceptance, love, faith, support. And that's what we're doing.
Right.
Like, and that to me, like, to quibble over whether or not I wear polyben clothes or whether I go outside in a tent when I'm on my period. Like, those are not important things that we're going to keep in the modern day.
Right.
You know?
No.
God forbid. So I hope that people who do have religion kind of open their heart and look into what those texts really mean and how they view in our frame now.
Well, guys, I feel like I got a lot out of this. Yes, this was really cool. It was everything I wanted it to be and more. I just think more people need to like talk to each other. I think
Amen.
If you guys out there listening have any type of questions, these guys are on Instagram. I'm sure they'd be willing to answer, whether it's like health, fitness, or
absolutely
life.
They
got an answer for you.
You're welcome to put my Instagram in the show notes.
Okay.
I know that's a thing.
Yeah. We'll do that.
If you feel the same.
Fine.
So,
but
really
yeah,
fun.
guys,
My personal Instagram is a lot of selfies, y'all. So.
Right.
Mine's a lot of like fitness related,
thirst traps, it's fine.
mine's a lot of fitness related stuff.
Right,
so like,
right,
but
right.
it's still like it's open to.
Yeah, I've been
whatever.
every time we work out, like Kayla will like post a video of me
I
and
know,
I'll
I saw you
repost
doing
it.
I
some
try to come up with the
farmers
best
carries.
gym puns that I
I
can.
saw
and
you doing some
everything,
farmers
so.
carries. You needed
This guy always
to
finds a
tend
new
it
way
out.
to
Yeah.
make my muscles hurt. So, but yeah, no, we got 7 a.m. tomorrow. So,
Yes, we do.
we
It's
can't
gonna
go
be
too
fun.
crazy in it. But no, guys, I really appreciate the honest and open conversation. And like, anytime you guys want, like, you need to come through the show. If even if it's just both of you, one of you, like,
Yeah, if you ever want to do a fitness or talk about health,
hell yeah.
both of us
I mean,
are down
definitely,
for
man.
that.
That's like that's what I'm definitely trying to push more towards
Yeah,
these
no.
days and stuff. So
I agree. We have to have better conversations.
Right.
We have to
Yeah.
if we're going to advance ourselves.
yeah, and that's what this show is all about. Like, it's constantly us, like, talking through life topics and meeting different people,
Yelling at each other.
disagreeing, agreeing to disagree.
Yell away.
So but yeah, now that we've talked about that, we kind of have to do like
I have to do a little bit of
let's make it quick.
Bachelorette.
Go
V.
for it.
Let's make it quick. You guys watch The Bachelorette?
I didn't grow up watching TV. I didn't have a TV till I was 16.
Really?
So
Oh, I didn't watch it until
I-
I was probably 16.
I remember growing up in like the first shows, like the first few seasons.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was
Oh, it's awful.
so huge though.
feel
Like,
you.
oh man,
It's trash, but we
I
love
remember
it.
all
Well,
those.
I wanted to say because I know you have like it's 7:20 right now, and
So, yeah, I
like
don't
you
know
have a
if
client
you
at
guys need to
7:30.
sneak
we're only
out.
we're 5 minutes away. so
You're good at like we
Okay.
could probably got like about another 10 minutes left
Yeah.
on the show, so
Yeah, that's fine.
we're sticking around. And you guys, I would love to hear your
Okay. Let me-
commentary on this a little bit.
All right, so
We'll make it quick.
it was Fantasy Suite Week.
Yes.
So in the show, the sex is very stigmatized in Bachelorette.
Yeah.
But so Fantasy Suite Week, she's got 4 guys. She's probably gonna fuck all 4. I would hope she would.
She didn't though.
But she didn't.
She only had sex with one of them, right?
I know. I'm pretty sure she had sex with Jed,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah.
is awful. Okay, so she starts with Peter. I really don't remember much of what he said. All I know is that we saw the windmill, and if we watched all the previews, we know that she was gonna fuck someone in a windmill. So we're like, Peter,
Twice.
in a windmill.
Twice.
Peter,
Yeah, Peter got it.
Let's go.
But that led to the next date with Tyler.
Who's like the sex pot of all the remaining guys.
best
like,
looking guy on
he's
the
so
show.
hot. He even but he got kind of creepy when
We'll
they
take
had a
your word for it.
massage on their date. He took over for the massage therapist, and I was like, bro, just let her,
Oh god.
let her do her job.
Yeah.
And
he
so,
was rubbing on her butt a lot too.
and Hannah was like, I'm
That's how
not
my
gonna
massages
take
go.
you to the fantasy suite because I feel like our relationship doesn't need that physicality.
But my take on it was that she did that because she had just had sex with the last guy. If it
was in that order,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, there's only so many orders. She definitely had sex with somebody before that date.
Yeah.
So
And she's
I think she just was trying not
an
to look
Alabama
like.
gal, and she's definitely been kind of
So
socialized.
she put a pause on him.
She's like, I don't know. Ooh.
Jed came and talked about Luke P. Like, how do you compare me? There's 4 guys left, so it's like everyone hates this one guy, Luke P., who went last. So Jed Jed ended up like kind of.
Jed honestly dug himself a hole, but like he got out of it somehow. He was like, "How come you like what? Why do you still like Luke P? You need to explain to me." Which, first of all, like you signed up for the show. This is not stay in your lane. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he pretty much tells her that he doesn't trust her decision making, which I was like, this is a red flag. I would not be like even keeping this guy around if he's like, yeah, I don't know, this makes me question who you are and how you make decisions. I'd be like,
kind of
all right,
awkward to
well,
listen.
goodbye. And she was pissed, but then like he pretty much was just like, it's just because I freaking care so much, man.
That's usually what
And
they always
then,
say.
and then he just like whispers in her ear, I love you. And then she's like, all right, you could stay for the fantasy suite.
I just
Yeah.
love you so much.
Yeah, and then they had sex, I think. So
I mean, who's to say?
yeah,
And then
69 episodes. So.
but last but very much so least, Luke P had his date, and he is a born again Christian, and he very much so was like, if you've maybe slipped up and had sex with someone else,
maybe.
like if you've slipped, and like using the phrase like slipped up, I'm like, oh bro. He's like, I'd probably have to remove myself from the situation
slipped.
because we
Something
have
slipped
to,
up.
because we have to keep our marriage bed pure, like kind of deal. And she's like, oh, wait.
She's like, check this out. He's like, no. Eventually she's like, I'm gonna walk you out, and he
Like,
wouldn't
He
leave.
wouldn't get up, and he kept
Oh,
being like, well,
God.
I think you owe me. And
She's like, I don't owe you
"I don't owe
anything.
you
He's like,
shit."
I don't want to leave until we have a conversation. She's like, well, I will tell you something right now that'll probably make you want to leave. She's like, I had sex with one of those guys in that like
In the windmill?
twice.
Twice. So you probably want to go.
And Jesus still loves me, she said. So deuces,
Good
and
for
sent
her.
him in a limo on his way.
Yeah, but it looks like for the previews for next week, he looks like he's still a psychopath and gonna come back and still is holding her on this like perfect wife pedestal and is gonna try to propose.
It's gonna be an interesting next episode.
So yeah, I'm more
So
excited.
that's how you wrap up the Bachelorette.
Stacking
and, like,
so many soapboxes there.
It's just I mean
Soapbox
whatever. She got some in. Good for Hannah.
Right.
So yeah, so before the end of the show, we usually hit people with our slapper of the week. This week, I mean, it kind of was like a pretty big deal. When Billie Eilish came out, we were like, wow,
We
this
love
album's
Billie
pretty
Eilish.
dope. So she dropped this song, Bad Guy, and it was just a hot song in general.
It's been like kind of number 2 or so on the charts.
Right. And out of nowhere, Justin Bieber comes in with the remix, and it's just like...
And the best part is that the cover art is her in her like childhood bedroom with all of her Justin Bieber
It's
posters.
just Justin Bieber picture. It's like the
I
best
love
like
it.
album
Yeah.
cover ever.
love
So
it.
I'll show you guys here in the break. But without further ado, let's just hop into our slapper of the week. Bad Guy by Billie Eilish featuring Justin Bieber. Let's go.
In the beginning.
Slapper of the week. This song slaps.
Slapper! Woo! Let's go! Guys, slapper of the week, Bad Guy, Billie Eilish with Justin Bieber. What's up? So yeah, guys, this is the point of the show where we do our shout outs. So we're gonna shout out some people. V, do you got any shout outs?
Yeah. I wanted to shout out my roommate Christian. He got a new job in New York,
Hey!
which is exciting.
Nice,
I wanted to
exciting.
shout out a gal I met at the pool with TM. Her name's Michaela.
Michaela.
I gave her a sticker. She's a big fan already.
Okay.
And then I wanted to shout out my boyfriend Chuck.
Chucky
Because
too.
I feel like he's put up with me a lot, so he deserves a shout out.
That's awesome. Well, quickly, I just want to go through and shout out my brother Ryan Dunleavy. It was his birthday, and he picked me up from the airport last week when I got to New York. Shout out to JT Maple for letting me perform with him at Rock the Dock. Shout out to Luke Dow for letting me stay at his house and for putting on the Rock the Dock show. And then shout out to my friends' girlfriends that I met this past weekend, Sam and Christy. Hopefully, they'll be new listeners of the show too. So shout out to all of them. And then last but not least, I want to shout out Caleb and
Obviously.
Melissa for being on this show today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I'm gonna give a round of applause for them. The kids are gonna cheer too.
The kids were invited back.
And I'm gonna give it a little boing for 69. But yeah, guys, this has been probably one of the dopest episodes. You guys saw how excited I was when you guys were
Yeah.
I even used my back door for you guys.
Not taken out of context.
I know that could be very confusing right now in this episode.
It is episode 69.
No. I swear that I have a back door. They know, the listeners know. I have a back door to my apartment that I never use, but they were parked in the back there.
The listeners know I have a back door.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. All right, guys. Well, yeah, thanks again. And like I said, anytime you guys want to come, like, you know, over to be on the show, like, I would love to have you guys. This was like, the conversation needs to continue. And then we need a party again soon so we can always talk about like our party experiences on the show.
It's summer in Atlanta. This pool parties.
Right.
Amen.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, that's been our show. You know, usually we get really excited for like, oh my God, we made it to episode 70, but like we kind of like went super hype on 69.
Well, here's to the next 69 episodes.
Hell yeah, I like the way. That's yeah. So guys, catch us next week with episode 70.
Yeah, I guess that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal, I guess. But you know, I love like those. But you know,
You
but
do.
we're almost close to 100. I have to say
That's
something.
gonna be big too.
Yeah, we got 30 episodes until 100. So I'm like pretty stoked about that, dude. We're almost close. 69, dude. Remember when we started this show and we were like, dude, imagine we get to 20, and then I think we said 69. Remember episode 69? Now we're gonna get to 100. It's gonna be amazing. But thank you guys. This has been amazing. Future Bachelor. My name is Sai.
I'm Veronica.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Melissa.
Hey, we'll see you next week, guys. Deuces.
Bye.